I know you just started dating this year. So how are we going to handle that? Okay, no athletes, no rappers. Don't give yourself to anybody that is not going to be your husband. Don't ever try to fit in when God has clearly created you to stand out. Always be a lady. And understand, you are the prize. If they love you, if they really care about you, they'll wait on you. You always carry yourself like a lady. Being a lady never goes out of style.
Marjorie Harvey has been getting a lot of hate lately, and I've been wondering, where is that coming from? There's a lot of reasons which we're going to break down in this video. One is because her shady past have been coming to light, and two, people want to humble her. There's a need to humble her and Lori Harvey. I don't know what it is, but the higher you climb up sometimes, especially if you look beautiful, people want to humble you. And it makes no sense because just a couple years before, everyone loved Marjorie Harvey, Steve's beautiful, gorgeous fashionista wife, right? What happened? And of course, there's many other reasons that we're going to break down in this video. But personally, I think she attracts a lot of envy and a lot of the hate. I don't know if it's really warranted. Yeah, I know there's things in her past that was done, but we're going to break that down to see, is it really that deep? Is it really that deep? But all aside from that, a lot of men, surprisingly, are who's behind the hate for her. You would think, because usually it's women, right? But a lot of men don't like Lori Harvey, so they don't like Marjorie Harvey, and they love to label them as gold diggers only after Steve Harvey's money and other well-prominent men's money. And because they're beautiful, they like to say, oh, they're not all that. It's just their eyes and their color. I see a lot of men behind the commentary and the takedown of Marjorie and Lori Harvey. And it's because also Marjorie Harvey, hate her or love her, you don't have to agree with her lifestyle choices or anything that she's done in the past, but she do drop gems for women. She speaks a little bit of truth now, and she's giving advice to young ladies. You have to just know, I don't think she's saying anything wrong, in her advice giving. But we're going to break that down and more. But first, hey friend, welcome to my channel, Korean Allude, where we deep dive and break down the most iconic stars through history. If you're not yet subscribed, please be sure to do so. And if you're already subscribed, please turn on your notification bell so you never miss an upload. Now, without further ado, let's get into this video. Before we get into the other details of her life, why is she known as the Memphis Madam? Jumping from one kingpin to another. I must give you guys first a little breakdown of her background. So she was born Marjorie Elaine Ridge Woods, and she didn't exactly have a straight path to success. But her life is bursting with the kind of drama that could literally fill a bestseller, and I'm looking forward to her book. She needs to write a book and tell her stories from her own mouth, because if she wants to. But she was born on October 10th, 1964, and school wasn't exactly her thing. While she graduated high school, her time at the University of Memphis didn't go as planned. She had to drop out due to low grades. Why the bad grades? Simple. Marjorie was more interested in chasing her passions for fashion than studying in a classroom. And when she finally left university, she decided to put all her energy into making her dreams come true. She launched her own clothing line, and thanks to her stunning designs, she quickly gained attention. Fashion, it turned out, was what she was born to do. But her love life, that is where it gets juicy. Her first marriage was to Jim Townsend, and they had 2 kids together, Morgan and Jason. Things seemed fine until the bombshell dropped. Turned out Jim had been involved in some shady illegal activities. Marjorie didn't waste time sticking around, and she divorced him and moved on. And Jim was known as a kingpin, and they were wealthy, honey. He was making money. And as legend goes in Memphis, she had a bar, like her own businesses, but they thought the feds were all over it. According to Jim also, and Memphis, what is being said in Memphis is that the feds was all over it, thinking that her businesses was due to, the illegal funds from her husband. And they were coming at her and got her to basically flip against him. And, but Marjorie has never spoken on this. She hasn't even so much as so defend herself. So we don't really know, but that's what's being said. But she was supposedly the Madam, that title is given to her from those in Memphis because they said, hey, she was aware of what her husband was doing. She was part of it. She loved the bad boys and the luxury and the fur coats and the fashion and stuff like that. So she was aware, right? He later did come out of prison and he was scorned and ready for vengeance. There were so many allegations and rumors out there. And with people looking for a reason to dislike Marjorie, he provided plenty.
Now, would you consider yourself a drug kingpin? Is that what they?
Well, when you're moving kilos, yeah.
How many kilos would you guesstimate like you would move a week?
30, 40.
Wow.
You can consider me like a pioneer because I brought it. And I'm not glamorizing this, so I let people know right off the bat. I mean, it's just what it is.
Because you were originally given like a life sentence.
Yeah, without the possibility of parole.
Did you get out on a pardon?
Clemency.
A clemency?
Yeah.
And this was done under Obama, right?
Right. She was 18.
18? Mm-hmm. And how old were you?
She just turned 18, so I'm 14 years old. That's what, about 32, something.
32?
Yeah.
So was it like when you first saw her, was it kind of like, you know, because Steve Harvey describes it when he saw her, I'm gonna marry you one day, I just don't know when, but he was already married.
She wouldn't give me a number, because we said an 8, and you know, I tried to be impressionable from the extent, you know, I had a big bankroll and I paid, you know. I told her to give me her number, but she wouldn't. So she said, give me your number. So I gave her my number. I said, well, give me a call, you know, but she never did. She never did call me, right? And so I forgot about it.
How many women did you have at the time?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, you know, I was, you know, so I told her, I said, hey, what happened with the phone call? I never did get the phone call, blah, blah, blah. And still, she told me some kind of excuse or whatever she told me. She gave me her number.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, be mindful, this time I'm married. I'm married to my first wife. I don't want to glamorize nothing that I've done.
Was it for a while, Marjorie, your wife, and other women?
You know, I can't blame much because I lied. She didn't know I was married. Okay. So I got to give her that problem. Okay. But yeah, I lied. I didn't tell her I was married. I deceived her. But after she found out, it was still on. She wasn't backing back now. She was too far gone. Marjorie was the apple of her dad's eye. He would kill a gorilla over her, that type of thing. Her dad is truly, I'm talking about, I wanted to be like him because he was straight up the real deal as far as a family man, ideal husband and an ideal father figure. He loved his kids. She got married to Steve Harvey. We talked. And she told me, she said, Jimmy, Jimmy, you know what, Steve, he's so much like my dad. When she said that, I said, because I knew how her dad was. He was a real deal. You see what I'm saying? From a husband to a parent. And I said, oh, you got to wonder then if he like your dad. That's 3 days before she got married. I wrote Marjorie and Steve Harvey a letter before they got married. Okay. And was thanking him for looking out for my kids. Then I think it was a day or two, I called her. Never heard that woman's voice again. We cool for 20 years, never had an argument. Me and Marjorie was tight as friends. The whole time I went to prison, I could call her if I needed anything, she'd do it. She was bringing those kids to see me up until, even with Donnell, Laura's dad, was cool, to 3 days before she got married.
And then she just...
The day after, 2 days after, I called her like I told her I was gonna call her and, you know, congratulated, good, well job, blah, blah. I never heard her voice again to this day. But the day after she married Steve Harvey, her phone cut off.
But he also went to do interviews on here, wrote a book, Snakes in the Garden, and he basically detailed how he wanted to take Marjorie out of here. Like, he wanted to end her life. That's how upset he was with her. But the only thing that was keeping him from taking her life was the daughter that they shared together, Morgan. And it turns out later that Morgan, according to rumors also, but again, Morgan has never spoken about this. Neither has Marjorie, but only the dad. But Morgan kind of fell out with her mother after this, after the book, after everything happened. She just fell out with her mother.
According to Townsend himself, they were actually married when he got busted. Yep, legally married and living the high life in Memphis. He spilled the beans to the Globe, giving us all the juicy details about their relationship. Apparently, they had it all going on until things went sideways. Townsend claimed that the FBI had some dirt on his brother and Marjorie, saying that they were part of his criminal enterprise. But guess what? They struck a deal, like some sneaky behind-the-scenes negotiation to keep them off the hook. Well, Marjorie had her own bar at the time, but the feds were all over it, thinking she used Townsend's dirty money to buy the joint. But wait. There's more. Townsend was supposedly to rot in prison for the rest of his days. But then, out of the blue, former President Barack Obama swooped in and granted him a pardon in 2017. The plot thickens. Even though they had separated while he was locked up, Townsend claimed they were still in touch until she started seeing none other than Steve Harvey. Oh snap. And get this, while serving time, Townsend had the audacity to write a memoir. Yep, he spent his free time behind bars scribbling away, planning to spill all the tea about his relationship with Marjorie. He hadn't finished it yet when he spilled the beans to Radar, but he promised it would be one heck of a juicy read. So Townsend made it clear that he's got no loyalty to Marjorie. He thinks she showcased her true colors. Seems like Morgan, one of the Harvey siblings, is downright furious and has reached her boiling point. Can you blame her? She's so angry that she didn't even want to lay eyes on her own mom. Yeah, you heard that right. She reportedly unfollowed her mom on Instagram, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. But wait, there's more. Morgan's anger has spilled over into family gatherings. She's been a no-show, skipping not one, but 2 family reunions. Yeah, and to make matters worse, one of those gatherings was none other than Lori Harvey's birthday bash. Can you imagine? Lori's own sibling didn't show up for her special day. Morgan's also super pissed about what Marjorie did to her biological father, Jim Townsend. Morgan has always been bothered by her mother's decision to leave her father hanging all these years, and now her anger has resurfaced with a vengeance, especially in light of his upcoming memoir. She didn't just leave him in the worst time of his life, but also went ahead and got new romantic partners. Morgan never held back her disdain for her mother's abandonment of Jim Townsend, and the wounds from that situation have never fully healed. Now, with the news of Jim publishing a memoir, it's like pouring salt on an already open wound. Morgan's fury has been reignited.
Marjorie had done my daughter so wrong. Morgan had done her so wrong, and her husband. See, they're estranged right now. How you gonna do your daughter and her husband? And Morgan's husband, Kareem, is, any in-law would want a son-in-law like him.
Now I do know Lori is her favorite. Like, she puts Lori everywhere.
Oh yeah, well she's polishing more Lori for whatever she's doing.
Yeah, but what did she do to Morgan and your daughter?
She should love Kareem.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because he's an excellent father and an excellent husband. Love our daughter to death, he does.
But Marjorie doesn't like him.
No, she don't like him.
So enter husband number 2, Darnell Woods. They welcomed a daughter, Lori, during their marriage, but history repeated itself when Darnell also turned out to be tangled in illegal dealings. He was another kingpin. So Marjorie said goodbye to him too. At this point, it's clear she wasn't about to settle for anything less than what she deserved, but people started saying, okay, the first time it's a coincidence, but the second time, sis, are you intentionally dating kingpins? So it's like she was hopping from one kingpin to another. She already became accustomed to a life, and she just was going through it. That's why a lot of people are not really as sympathetic, but it could just be those were the circles she was already around because of her husband. And what if she doesn't know? Because when we look at like the Italian mafia and stuff like that, a lot of the women didn't know what their husbands were doing. And a lot of these men that were around them were just friends, right? Like, they just thought, hey, that's friend. Y'all working at this place, whatever. The men would intentionally keep things away from their wives. And, you know, in the hood, that happens too sometimes. People don't always know that their spouse or whatever is involved in this. And when you're a kingpin, you're at that level, because her first husband was even involved with government officials, because somehow Obama pardoned him. The Obama administration was what pardoned him to help him get out of jail. But even before then, I believe it was Ford. There was one political figure that he was allegedly tied to, and he wouldn't snitch, so he ended up getting life for it. So these were not regular guys that she was getting involved with. So when you're up that high, these men tend to not really incriminate their families or tell their families what they're into in case things go left. You can't flip on me if you don't know what I was doing. But the thing goes that Jim alleged that, hey, Marjorie knew. She flipped on me. So he was basically saying she knew.
There's another rumor online about you taking the rap for Marjorie.
Yeah, I did that. But I tell everybody, I didn't get the life sentence because of my co-defendant that testified. It was a railroad, and the railroad was really because of Congressman Harold Ford between me and Congressman Harold Ford Sr. When they found these tapes in my house, once they raided my house. And we were talking about banking business, me and my brother Terry and Harold Ford. I had given $30,000 to money laundering this money to get this Amoco station that we had just bought this lot. But of course, we couldn't walk in with $250,000 cash.
Right.
And they had the congressman in their hand.
So you had gone political.
Yeah, a lot of people don't. I told you the untold truth. There's snakes in the garden, the untold truth.
What do you guys think? Finally, in 2007, Marjorie found her Mr. Right, comedian and TV host extraordinaire, Steve Harvey. Now, here's a love story for the books. Steve first met Marjorie way back in 1990 at one of his comedy shows. He paused mid-performance just to tell her that he didn't know who she was, but that he was going to marry her someday. And he wasn't wrong. Life took them on a different path for a while, but they reconnected years later and started dating and eventually tied the knot in 2007.
Where did I meet you?
Oh,
Where?
at a comedy club.
Okay. How did we meet? Tell them exactly how we met. Tell them first thing I said to you. She came down front with her girlfriend.
Yeah.
When I saw her, I quit breathing.
I came with my girlfriend. I was late, and I thought he was going to give me the business because he got real quiet. He stopped the show, and he just kept staring at me. So now it's kind of awkward because it's a little bitty comedy club. So he stayed quiet so long staring at me. Now everybody in the club is looking at me. So he's just quiet. He just keeps staring at me. He finally realized, okay, I got to say something. He was like, oh, I'm sorry. I don't know who this is, but I'm going to marry her. But he didn't do it right then. It should have. He wasted a whole lot of time.
Okay. The first word I ever said to her was, I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna marry you one day.
And Marjorie said when they took that long break, it wasn't because, he broke her heart or she broke his heart. It was just long distance. And they took their time because of the distance, right? A lot of people said, no, Steve's money wasn't up. Like, even though he was this comedian, he still wasn't making the kind of money her kingpin men were making. So she was like, go get your money up. She had standards and then come back to me. That's what other people are saying. But out of Marjorie's own mouth, she stated, no, it was definitely the distance. They were living apart. But if you're Steve Harvey, you're making that much money, and Marjorie was doing pretty well for herself also. She didn't come to Steve Harvey broke and dusty, you know what I mean? She was a boss of her own, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, but Steve described her as having been already happy. He didn't have to make her happy. He found her and got in a relationship with her already happy. So y'all had money. Why y'all couldn't make it work with the long distance? But she had kids. She probably couldn't travel that much because she had kids. She still had kids. Lori was still pretty young, and stuff like that. So maybe that played a factor, and he had kids. He was tangled up in divorces and all that stuff too. So who knows? Maybe that's why. The couple's life together has been picture perfect, or as close as you can get when you're one of the most famous couples in Hollywood. They even started the Steve and Marjorie Harvey Foundation in 2010 to help provide opportunities for underprivileged youth and build up future leaders. And beneath the glam, they're all about giving back. In 2023, the rumor mill exploded with gossip that Steve and Marjorie's marriage was on the rocks after allegations surfaced claiming Marjorie cheated. The internet buzzed with the rumors, but Steve shut it all down. He stood by Marjorie, calling her the best thing to ever happen to him.
You're really here, so I can honor you.
Don't make me cry. All right.
From the moment I saw you, the first thing I said to you ever was, I don't know who you are, lady, but I'm gonna marry you one day. It took me a long time, but I did it. Truth be told, I probably should have done it a long time ago, but I went off and I got stupid. I did some things. What you've done for me, you allowed me to stop existing and to start living. I never lived before I met you. You did some things for me. You made my children comfortable. They'd never been comfortable before. What you've done for Winton in balancing his life out, you dropped everything, turned our son into an A.B. student. I had stopped listening to music because I was in such a dark place, I didn't listen to music anymore. As much as I love music, you gave all that back to me. You made me comfortable with my fame. I never even enjoyed my fame. I needed you so bad. I'd never been happy before. Along you came. You were already happy. And for the first time in my life, my job was not consumed with making another person happy. You exposed me to travel. I didn't go nowhere. You've taken me places around this world I never would have gone. You've made me that the happiest man I've ever been. I am the most blessed man. I love you, Marjorie.
So regardless of what you say, they do have a pretty tight-knit relationship. If they're acting, they're pretty good actors, okay? But I don't think they're acting. They do still look very much in love and always traveling, playful, spending time. He's always honoring her, defending her, and protecting her. And she's just staying in her soft femininity. And just looking at body language, I'm no like body language expert, you know, but she's rushing to comfort him as he's honoring her, rushing to hug him and kiss him. And, you know, it's not giving that it's just all about the money. Maybe it did start all about the money and being a provider. Who knows? We don't know people. But along the way, when you've been together that long and you're not honoring each other, like she's invested her time into making sure he loves life. She obviously is making him happy and not just taking from the relationship, right? Like, let's be fair here. Let's be fair. She's giving to the relationship just as much as he's giving to her. So she's providing that fun, excitement, keeping him healthy because she got him together with his diet, looks, fashion, and just, you know, organization and structure in his life and opening him up to new experiences and stuff. So she's providing some value to the relationship, whether you like her or not, that is keeping him happy. The man said he was never happy before, okay? And they've been together that long. So can we stop with the it's just the money thing at this point? Because obviously, that's a good investment for him. If it's for the money, then hey, that's a great investment for him, right? Nonetheless, Marjorie's life has proved that she can handle whatever life throws her way, whether that's failed marriages, career pivots, or tabloid rumors. Through it all, she remained a fierce, stylish, and unstoppable force. So why do people hate her? Let's go with number one. They say she's a homewrecker. Steve's ex-wife has been speaking out a lot about her hurts and the betrayals she faced from Steve.
Saved me. I didn't know what to do with myself. I was lost. And you do get lost. I don't have a whole lot of words to say, you know, step 1, 2, 3, 4. There are no steps. The first step is to get up. And there are many days when I didn't want to. I felt that crushed. And get to that next feeling, get to that next house.
She allegedly held him down and invested all her finances into his career just for him to leave her high and dry. So a lot of people have a bone to pick with Marjorie for that. Number two, the hate really started coming at her fast when Lori started to become more famous. It's the obsession to humble Lori that now, no, the anger went towards the mom, the one who's advising her. They're like, oh, she's the one advising her to hop from one man. Lori's public dating life was too public, basically. And it started really with the Diddy thing, you know, now look where Diddy at. It felt like, dang, Marjorie's trying to set her daughter up the way that she's set up, which any parent would. It's culturally, there's nothing wrong with that. In different races and cultures, it's a thing. But you know, just don't be public and obvious about it. And they spoke about it too much. They were too loud about it with the advice. But it was an obsession to humble these women and bring them down a peg. So people were always looking for a reason to dislike both of them and ran with it.
Well, little lady, I can't believe, you know, get ready to leave.
You're going to miss me?
Yeah, I'm going to miss you big time. You know, Dad and I are so proud of you, though.
Really?
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day, going off to school. It's a lot of responsibility.
Over the years, she's taught me so much, and I know sometimes she felt like she was talking to a wall, but I definitely absorbed everything that she said, so I'll always make smart decisions.
No athletes, no rappers. We're going to go down the list.
When it comes to dating, my mom has nothing to worry about. I got this.
Always be a lady. And understand, you are the prize. Don't give yourself to anybody that is not going to be your husband. Steve and I have been drilling this into our daughters for forever. If they love you, if they really care about you, they'll wait on you. You always carry yourself like a lady. Being a lady never goes out of style. You know you're gonna always be my baby. All right? And know that Dad and I are always gonna be here for you in Winton. Always.
When it comes to dating, Lori ain't got a damn thing. I handled Lori dating life. So we waited till she was 18 before we allowed her to
But we did
go out.
explain to her that it wasn't that we didn't trust her.
is we don't
said
trust
we don't
a damn
trust them.
thing. They don't want but one thing, and they can't afford nothing. He ain't working, he ain't got nothing, he can't give you nothing, he can't replace nothing.
Now, also the third and last is that Marjorie looks good and flaunts it. Like, admit it. She is also very flashy, all about opulence and luxury. That can bring a lot of envy your way when you're as bold and open as she is about her lifestyle with Steve. And she's confident. She looks good for her age. She takes care of herself. And that attracts a lot of envy. That's just point blank period. So again, from men that can't have her, men that are hating on Steve, and they want to always talk about how Steve looks and, oh, she only with you for the money. Like, Steve is not. Oh my goodness, he's not despicable looking. The way y'all talking is as if this man is, you know. So again, that plays a role in it. But let's wrap this up on a more positive note, right? Let's talk about her beauty secrets, because she is aging very gracefully. And what's the secret? With her husband confessing to spending upwards of $400,000 a year on his personal health, we are sure that Marjorie is close to spending that much, if not more, on her personal health, personal trainers, fashion, you know, facials and all that. And if you, on her Instagram, she's always, you know, doing wellness and stuff like that. So they'll probably spend the money, of course. But she also works extensively and takes her fitness very seriously. She works out a lot. She eats a balanced diet and incorporates lots of fruits and veggies. But I personally think the key to her beauty is that she is mentally young. She is always traveling and actively taking care of herself and remaining joyful, that it reflects also on the outside, right? So that plays a major role on it. She is a very beautiful woman. And like I said, maybe I'm a little biased because I do like women to have standards and take care of themselves. Did Lori take her mom's advice? Like a lot of the comments under the video of her giving advice to Lori to not date rappers and stuff, people were saying she didn't take her advice because then she went to date Future and then was tangled up in the whole Diddy mess. But does that eradicate the advice? Because at the end of the day, your kids will do what they want, right? They will do what they want. Maybe I'm a little biased with Marjorie Harvey, not because of her lifestyle and all that she's done. Yes, there's a lot of things that, hey, people don't agree with, rightfully so. Morally, we can be like, hey, this is not really a lifestyle if these things are true that we would promote. But nonetheless, the woman gives great advice, okay, to young women that are dating on how to value herself. Every time I hear her speaking or giving advice to young ladies, it's always to have self-esteem, dignity with yourself. And I don't disagree with marrying well if that is that's something in the Haitian culture or the Caribbean culture. Your parents make that a big deal. If you as a woman, especially for the women, I can't just bring any guy to my family, you know, especially if I'm making money myself. I'm educated. My parents invested in me. They look at me as an investment. Like, we invested in you, and you can't just bring whoever to us. They have to be able to provide for you and take care of you. When we're gone, you're good. Once you leave the nest, you're good. And not only that, we want to make sure you're secured and good so that you can take care of us when we get older. Because in the Caribbeans, we don't send off our parents to nursing homes. We don't send our parents to nursing homes, okay? So we typically keep them with us. So we have to have the funds for that. And if you marry a bum, you're not going to have the funds for that. So it's something that we're taught really early to care for that. So it's only in American culture I see parents go off to nursing homes. And in American culture, men are very bitter that women want to be provided for. It reminds me of what Marilyn Monroe said.
With thousands of Lorelei Lees coming at me from everywhere. But believe me, son, you're not going to marry any one of them. No, you might convince this jackass that you love him, but you'll never convince me. Young lady, you don't fool me one bit.
I'm not trying to, but I bet I could, though. That's too bad, because I do love him.
Certainly. For his money?
No.
You don't want to marry my son for his money?
It's true.
Then what do you want to marry him for?
I want to marry him for your money.
You admit that all you're after is money.
No, I don't. And if you had a daughter, wouldn't you rather she didn't marry a poor man?
But I was...
You'd want her to have the most wonderful things in the world and to be very happy. Oh, why is it wrong for me to want those things? Don't you know that a man being rich is like a girl being pretty? You might not marry a girl just because she's pretty. But my goodness, doesn't it help?
They told me you were stupid. You don't sound stupid to me.
I can be smart when it's important, but most men don't like it.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, I never saw anything wrong with Marjorie's advice. And even if she was climbing the social ladder to take care of herself, what woman would intentionally go and date someone broke if you have options because of your beauty and femininity. She has options. She's beautiful. She's quick-witted. She's, intelligent and full of life. And she had access to a luxurious life to where she could even put Steve Harvey on. She has qualities that we as women could learn from. Even as her husband is, Steve Harvey, is honoring her, he's saying, yo, she took me places I never even dreamt of going, opened me up to new experiences, brought structure to my home and peace and, organization and style and class and opulence and stuff. These are all things, these are all touches that I feel instead women, if there are women that really don't really know why they dislike Marjorie Harvey, just say instead, what is triggering this dislike, And what can I do to incorporate that? Because we usually envy what we don't have or we hate in others, most of the time what we wish we had. And if it's her fitness, her beauty, hey, go work out. It's free to work out. You don't need $400,000 to look good. Okay, there's people in the hood that look good, that got six packs and abs. You can do body weight exercises at home. You can try to eat as clean as possible. And even if you live in a food desert. There's people in the food desert that were still fit because they weren't overindulgent. They weren't gluttonous. You don't have to overeat and do all of that stuff, right? So yeah, I don't know. Comment below your thoughts. I love you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in. If you like the music you're listening to, the link is in the description. I will see you guys in the next one. Until next time.